Hi. Okay, so the title of my last video was Adirondack Lodge before SHTF, and that was I had a reservation for one campsite there until the morning of April 23rd, which was my 52nd birthday, and then that night I was supposed to move to another part of the campground that was further down. And overnight, we got 8 inches of snow, which doesn't really faze me. I'm a northern girl, whatever. I rolled with it. I put on my wool socks, put on my rubber boots, put on every piece of clothing I owned, including a hat. And then I went to the little bookstore thing and I bought some gloves. And, I was okay. But when I went into the office to ask about my new site, they were like, well, we're really sorry to inform you, but you can't have that site because the road is now closed due to the snow. So I said, well, where else can you put me? And they said, we don't have anywhere else to put you. So I was like, okay, God, here we go, right? I have to leave here. Where am I going to go? And so I considered, driving back to Lion Mountain, sleeping on top of the mountain, going over to the other site for the day again. But I don't know. I just didn't feel like that was the right thing to do. And so I started praying about it. Then I remembered a woman that I knew, Karen Kenning, and she has a ministry, not a ministry. She has a not-for-profit organization called Canary Housing Cooperative in Tully, New York. And she had told me that I could camp in her yard and that she had 35 acres and the top of a hill was 12 acres. And that's where she lived. And she had built a safe house there. And so I called her and she said, sure, come on down. So the next morning when I got up, I left the Adirondack Lodge. I went to Lion Mountain. I picked up my mail. I went to Frank's to get my car fixed. And he had the part, but he didn't have the time. So I picked up the part from him. And then that was it. I was leaving. I was leaving Lion Mountain. I was going to Tully, and I was sad. I was sad. But it just so happened that right when I started getting really sad, my phone rang. And it was a new friend of mine from a 12-step program. And she just started asking me a few questions. And I talked for like an hour to her. And it distracted me enough that I was able to not kind of have a breakdown, because I was like getting all dramatic, like, oh, I'm leaving Lion Mountain forever. And this is where I've lived for 8 years. And this is blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I stopped at the health food store in Messina. Shout out to Healthy Way in Messina, New York, owned by Bing Thomas. He's great, by the way. He has helped me a lot with different supplements. And when I went in there, I was like, hey, Bing, I finally left mold. And he was like, oh, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And, he gave me a few tips about what to get. So I got all stocked up and, hit the road and got to Tully, went in her house, cooked some eggs because I eat my protein at night, and took a bath. She has one of those old-fashioned clawfoot tubs, so that was really nice. Washed out the tub, took a nice bath, felt really good, But then when I went out to my car, 'cause she said you can sleep in the house, but I said, no, I'm comfortable in my car. I have my little mattress back there and I'm comfortable. So I came out here. I could not fall asleep. It was really weird. It was like I was laying down, but I was keyed up. And I was like, this is weird because I haven't felt like this since I left the mold house. For whatever reason, when I was in that moldy house, my time was flip-flopped. Like I was a vampire. Like I was awake all night and I would sleep all day. So I didn't put 2 and 2 together right away, but my friend Andrea called me and we talked for a while. We prayed for a while. My friend Mary called me too, the chemical-free gal. She called me first. We talked and prayed. Then Andrea called me. We talked and prayed. And so anyway, but I couldn't fall asleep. I woke up in the morning and I felt like I was in the mold house all over again. My muscles were extremely weak. My arms and legs felt like they were made out of lead. My face was red. I felt itchy all over my body. And I just felt really tired. And I was like, what the heck? So I sleep with a little mask on. I took the mask off and I looked over at her house. And it's a wooden house with like wooden siding. And it was gray. And I thought, that's mold. I mean, when you see wood that is gray, you know, it's mold. That's why wood turns gray, because the mold is eating at it. Like, there's a fence over there right now. It's gray. That's why. So I was like, ugh. I mean, I felt like I was in a Stephen King novel. That's how frightened I was. And then I looked to the other side of me, and there was a huge pile of lumber, and it was all gray too. So I was like, great. I just breathed mold in all night. And so I went in the house to basically tell her, I don't know. I don't think this is going to work for me, whatever. And, yeah, I mean, but I kind of panicked. Then I was like, where am I going? What am I going to do? And so what I did was I drove to the edge of her property to see if I felt any better. And then I had that canopy at the Adirondack Lodge. These people gave me this 12 by 12 really nice canopy, and I had it in my roof box, but it had snow on it when I put it up there. So I knew I had to get that out. So I got that out and I opened it up and let it dry. Then I couldn't get it back in the roof box. So I left it there for her. I was like, I hope you can use that. She's like, well, I think I will. But anyway, so I left there with absolutely no idea where I was going. And my brain was moldy. So I was extremely confused. I didn't know what to do. I called Evie. I called Andrea. I didn't know. And, you know, they all said, you got to decontaminate. You got to get a shower somewhere. You know, look for a gym. Look for a truck stop. Look for, you know, which I still haven't taken a shower. I couldn't even get my mind. I couldn't even drive here. Like, my brain was so scrambly. And so I finally got here. I'm in front of it's like a truck stop shower. But there's also a Planet Fitness across the road. So I'm trying to decide what to do. And I'm downloading stuff to watch because there's Wi-Fi here. So, but I got all my shower stuff ready. I got gas. I put the power steering fluid in the car. I think I might just take a shower here and then maybe go to a rest stop. There's a rest stop down the road that I can go to sleep. But I have to say, there was a whole bunch of realizations. Like, it just hit me like, oh my gosh, I'm out here in the world all alone right now. I have no help, no human help. I have, you know what I mean? It really just kind of freaked me out. And I had a little breakdown about it, you know? And, you know, of course I said a prayer and everything, but, you know, and the sad thing is I'm in the Syracuse area. I know a lot of people here, but nobody can help me because those people are all, you know, they all use chemicals. So it's not like I could call them up and say, hey, can I crash in your driveway? Hey, can I, you know, use your shower? Because they would want to help me, but it would end up hurting me more to go there because of that. And it just breaks my heart because there's people really close to here, people that I love, people that I would love to go see, people that I would love to hug, you know, but I can't. And I can't even really call them and talk to them about this because they don't understand it and it would just stress them out, you know. And I don't want to stress people out, but I do have people that are standing by me, you know, people that are, they don't really understand it, but you know what they've done? They've been willing to learn. They've gone online. They've, you know, looked at, the mold avoidance stuff, looked at the MCS pages, and just either that or they're just not judging me. You know, they're, this woman that I just met, we were talking and I was crying at one point and I was like, I feel like I'm crazy. And she's like, no, trust me. She goes, I ran a behavioral health center for years. You're not crazy. And I was like, oh, wow. Thank you. That's so good to know. She's like, no, she goes, honestly, I'm astounded at your ingenuity and, you know, your strength. And I mean, the bottom line is I do have choices, right? I don't have to practice mold and chemical avoidance. I could choose to show up at an emergency room and say, you know, hey, every single chemical and mold, you know, gives me these symptoms. It makes me, when I run into lemon pine sol, I feel suicidal. when I run into mold, my whole body feels like it's made of lead. When I could do that, and or if I went in there and said, I just can't live anymore. This world is too toxic for me. I can't stand it anymore. Sure, I'm sure they would put me, I have Medicaid. They'd put me right in there. They'd give me a shot of Helidol or something in the ass, and, I'd be checked out mentally. I could do that. But then I'd be what? I'd be alive, but I'd be a zombie. And, the real problem, the fact that my body is toxic and overloaded with toxins, would just keep getting worse and worse until one day my liver would shut down, or my kidneys would shut down, or I'd get cancer. So I'm choosing to try to save my life by this method instead. And it's unconventional and it's frightening. And I know I say this all the time, but if you are sick, if you have multiple chemical sensitivity and your life is unmanageable because of it, like you can't go here, you can't go there, seriously consider whether you're living in mold. And if you are, try to figure out a way to get out of it. Like the lady whose house I just left, she's living there in mold and she knows it, but she takes something that makes it livable for her, but she still struggles and she still suffers and she still, but she's an older lady. And I know another older lady in another state who it's the same thing. She's like, I can't do what you're doing. I don't have the physical strength to do that. And I don't either. I feel like I don't either, but I have to try. And the reason I have to try is because I believe that God has a purpose for me. He has a plan for me. That plan is not to be zoned out on any kind of drugs. That plan is not to be in the grave yet, because if I was supposed to be in the grave, he would bring me to the grave, And a lot of times I say that, God, so hard. I can't wait to go be with you in heaven, Please take me there. But until he does that, that's not my decision to make, And it's hard. It's hard. So tonight's my first time of really not, today I had a panic in the middle of the day. Where am I going to sleep tonight? And every other day so far during mold avoidance, when I woke up that morning, I had a clear plan of where I was going to sleep and it worked out. And today it didn't. So tonight I'm going to be showering at a truck stop and sleeping in a rest area. And I have to, if you're someone who prays, please pray about my car. I have to, one of two things. I either have to trade it in and get a van, like toot sweet, or I have to get this stupid part put on. And, when I came down here, I asked a friend for a recommendation of a garage. And so I called them on my way. And they gave me an appointment for next Friday. So now I'm probably not even staying in the area till next Friday. So I'm gonna have to cancel that appointment. So I have a couple choices. One, I've been thinking about going to, I'm not sure, I'm going to butcher the name. It's like Monongahela. It's in West Virginia. A lot of mold avoiders. I think Sammy Storrs went there. Her and her brother, they went there and they said it was good. And it's a little warmer because it's a little further south. So the air is really good there. So I could go there. I could get a campsite there and try to find a mechanic around there. Or a good friend of mine has a really trusted, like a brother in Christ in South Carolina that sells cars and fixes cars. That's really reliable and she really trusts. So I could try to go there. So I'm really not sure what I'm doing. And that's the weird part about it. Like, I'm a planner. I like to plan things and have like contingency plans. And So that is kind of flying in the face of mold avoidance. Mold avoidance is more of a think on your feet, fly by the seat of your pants type thing. But what I learned today was this: when I have had a mold hit, the most important thing to do is wait. Because I ended up driving out of my way today because I went the wrong way. I had the GPS, already for this place. And I turned the radio on, and I had the GPS plugged into the aux cord. So when I turned the radio on, I could hear the music, but I couldn't hear the directions. So I drove 45 minutes out of my way and then had to drive 45 minutes back. So because I made that decision with a mold brain, I would have been better off just to pull over on the side of the road and stay there until the mold brain cleared and then make a decision, or not multitask. So I learned that lesson today. When I get a mold hit or a chemical hit, don't think, or if you, and I had help thinking. I had help from friends, what should I do? And then I should have just focused. So, and I also, another thing I did was I Googled 3 different campsites right around where I was. And one of them wasn't open till next week. Another one only allowed RVs, and they didn't have any bathrooms open. And then the third one, I went to it, and I pulled in, and I walked into the office. I took one step into the office, and I smelled musty. I turned around and I walked right back out, because I'm just no, I'm not going from the frying pan into the fire. I'm not going from one moldy place to another moldy place. So that probably didn't help me either, walking in there. So, okay. Well, I want to thank you for watching. I would like you to please share this, because I'm trying to get more subscribers. I really do want to raise awareness. I really do want people to understand that these illnesses are caused by environmental concerns, that sometimes our moods are being influenced by chemicals around us or mold around us, and not just our moods, but our health. And also I just love people, and I love God, and no matter where you are in your life, no matter what you're doing, I just want you to know that there is a God of the universe. I mean, I didn't believe in God for a long time. I thought he was made up, and I have really searched for God, and I believe in him now. I believe he's the God of the Bible, and I believe that he loves all people, and if you don't know God, or you don't know if you believe in God, the best thing that I did was I literally would say to God every day, even though I would say, hey God, if you're real, I want to know. I want you to show me. I want you to teach me. Because I was seeking God, because I had problems, and they were big problems. They were problems I couldn't solve alone. And I had a whole room full of people telling me I needed a higher power, so I better figure out how to find one. And so that's what I did. I just kept saying, God, if you're real, show me. God, if you're real, show me. And he started to show me, and it was a beautiful thing. And though my faith has waxed and waned over the years, he has always been there, and he's always been present. And it's only me, my heart and my mind, that goes away from him, but he doesn't move. So, all right, that's enough for today. It's a pretty long one, so I'm going to upload it right now, and I will keep you guys posted, and please keep the prayers coming. I know it helps. I just know it helps. All right, God bless.